There is a quiet power that resides within each of us, not loud, not boastful, but sacred and real. It's the power of our imagination, of our inner vision, and most of all, of our belief in what could be. The science of visualization gently but powerfully unveils this truth, like a spiritual mentor whispering age-old wisdom we've forgotten we once knew. It doesn't offer magic in the sensationalized sense, but in the deeply human sense, the kind of magic that happens when clarity meets intention, and when faith meets aligned action. The book opens not with technical jargon or sterile theories, but with an invitation to see our minds not as observers of reality, but as co-creators of it. Visualization, as the author gently reminds us, is not wishful thinking. It's not simply daydreaming about a better life while passively hoping for change. Rather, it is the deliberate, intentional act of emotionally and mentally experiencing our desired reality before it unfolds, so deeply and vividly that our subconscious begins to accept it as truth. And when the mind believes, it begins to orchestrate life toward that belief. This is not just spiritual rhetoric, it's backed by science. Neurologically, the brain doesn't distinguish between an imagined event and a real one. When you visualize something with enough sensory detail, when you see it, hear it, feel it, and believe it, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if the experience were actually happening. Over time, these neural pathways strengthen, forming new patterns, shifting your mindset, and ultimately, shaping your behavior. Visualization is mental rehearsal, and like any rehearsal, it prepares you for performance, not just in theory, but in real, measurable outcomes. The book illustrates this with a compelling story of a young woman named Rachel, who, after a series of personal and professional setbacks, felt utterly lost. Her confidence shattered, she found herself constantly reliving past failures, replaying fears like a broken record. Her internal narrative, full of self-doubt and limitation, had become her reality. But then she encountered a coach who introduced her to visualization. At first, she resisted. It felt foreign, even foolish. But with time and guidance, she began to create a clear, compelling image of her ideal life, not in vague outlines, but with emotional intensity. She imagined herself walking into a room with confidence, speaking clearly, laughing freely, being seen and respected. She visualized not only success in her career but peace in her heart. She paired these mental images with deep, embodied feelings of worthiness. Day by day, something shifted. Subtle at first, a lifted posture, a clearer voice, a decision to show up rather than hide. Then, opportunities began to emerge. Conversations flowed differently. People responded differently. Rachel hadn't changed the world overnight, she had changed herself. And in doing so, the world responded. This example is not unique, the author insists. It is replicable, but the key is emotional engagement. Visualization is most powerful when it's not just intellectual but emotional. You must feel your way into your future. You must learn to fall in love with a reality that hasn't yet arrived, and to do so with patience, not desperation. When we visualize with fear, we create anxiety. But when we visualize with faith, we create alignment. The book goes deeper into the science behind this transformation. It discusses the reticular activating system, ROS, a part of the brain that acts like a filter, deciding which information is brought to your conscious awareness. The ROS is trained by what you consistently focus on. If you constantly think of failure, your brain will seek evidence to confirm it. But if you train your focus toward growth, opportunity, and solutions, your ROS begins to bring those into your awareness. Visualization, then, is not just imagination, it is the reprogramming of what your brain prioritizes. Another profound lesson in the book is about identity. We often visualize goals, losing weight, earning more money, finding love. But the most transformative form of visualization, the book teaches, is not about what we want to get, but about who we want to become. Behavior always follows identity. If you see yourself as someone unworthy, no matter how many goals you set, you'll sabotage them. But if you begin to see yourself, deeply and honestly, as someone capable, deserving, and whole, your actions will naturally begin to align. A man named Marcus, featured in the book, had struggled for years with addiction. Rehab, therapy, interventions, nothing stuck. He didn't believe he was worth saving. But when he began to visualize not just a sober life, but a new identity, a strong father, a loyal partner, a man of integrity, something changed. He visualized himself waking up clear-minded, making coffee for his daughter, showing up to work with pride. He repeated these images until they felt more real than his past. And in time, that inner picture became the outer truth. This speaks to one of the most emotional truths of the book, that our past does not define us, our vision does. Visualization offers a sacred pause between where we've been and where we could go. It gives us the permission to reimagine ourselves, not based on what's been, but based on what's possible. And when we do this consistently, our choices begin to reflect this inner vision. But the author also issues a gentle warning: visualization is not a substitute for action. It is the starting point, not the finish line. It's like planting a seed. You must still water it, nurture it, and protect it from the weeds of doubt. Visualization without action is fantasy. But visualization followed by intentional steps becomes creation. To make this practice real, the book outlines a method called the VEST framework: visualize, embody, speak, take action. Visualize. Start each day by mentally rehearsing your desired reality. Close your eyes. Use all your senses. See yourself in your goal, not achieving it one day, but being it now. What do you feel? Who are you with? What are you doing? This is not about faking it, it's about tuning into what already lives inside you. Embody. Move through your day with the energy of that vision. Stand like that version of you. Speak like them. Dress like them. Make decisions they would make. When fear arises, remember, this new self is already alive within you, you are just learning to give it expression. Speak. Your words have power. Speak your vision into being. Use affirmations not as cliches, but as declarations of truth. I am becoming. I am learning. I am worthy. Speak with conviction. Others may not believe in your vision yet, but your voice can lead them there. Take action. This is where the rubber meets the road. Don't wait for motivation. Take one small step. Each action you take reinforces your belief, and each belief makes the next action easier. Momentum is built, not found. The beauty of this framework lies in its simplicity. It's not complicated, but it is sacred. It asks you to return, each day, to your inner temple, to the quiet place within you where your future is already written, waiting for you to step into it. The book also addresses common blocks. What if we can't visualize clearly? What if we feel disconnected from our imagination? The author reminds us that visualization is not about seeing perfect images in your mind. It's about feeling a reality into existence. Even if your mind's eye is foggy, your heart knows. Begin with feeling. Begin with trust, and the clarity will grow. What if we fear disappointment? What if we're afraid that visualizing something that doesn't happen will only break our hearts? The book speaks to this with tenderness. It teaches us that the true gift of visualization is not just in what it brings into our lives, but in who it helps us become. The practice itself rewires us for hope, for confidence, for alignment. Even if the exact outcome shifts, the person you become through the practice is never wasted. As the book nears its end, it returns to the spiritual essence of this work. Visualization is not just a brain hack, it's a soul practice. It's the quiet rebellion against a world that tells you to settle, to doubt, to shrink. It's the reclaiming of your birthright to dream, to desire, and to direct your life with intention. The science supports it, the stories prove it, but more than anything, your own life will be the evidence. There is one final message the author leaves us with, perhaps the most powerful of all: you are always visualizing. Every day, in every thought, you are creating pictures in your mind. The only question is, are you doing it consciously or unconsciously? Are you envisioning your fears or your future? Your past or your potential? That question, quietly posed, stays with you long after the last page. Because in that moment, you realize, the canvas is yours. The paint is yours, and the hand that holds the brush, it has always been yours too.